I started thinking about this video about, I don't know, a week ago or 2 weeks ago, when it was almost 100% verbatim a death sentence that we were going to be an ascended master and just try to exist, try to live through this ascension. The idea that you would even do A&R Mark's works with a death sentence. Every single one of my students is sentenced to death, and I was given a body bag. Let me say that again. I was given a body bag, or like a black bag, with a bunch of burned charcoal in it, with the open fire sticker. We are gonna kill you, or we're gonna kill your little dead baby, or we're gonna kidnap Isla and kill her. Either way, it was a message of the generic kind. The Blue Octopus Totem. If you did your proper education for Gaebera, you will have figured out that the chances of survival through this ascension are very slim. One of the movies that we made mandatory was the Red Octopus Teacher. And you go away walking, knowing and calculating in your brain, especially if you're a Gryffindor or a Seraphim, that red octopus is you. You're going to do everything it takes and is required to survive, and at the same time, you're going to die of exhaustion just taking care of your children, or the eggs, your future children, just eggs that you'll never even get to see grow up because you're spending all day long just taking care of them. And you will purely just die at the end of the day of exhaustion. So that's the Red Octopus Totem. When you come to this space in life, it's just horror. Because you go, I will never have any kind of quality of life in that kind of existence. Mentally and emotionally, you process that like, I am forever a mother martyr. Forever. And there's nothing higher, because that octopus was at the apex, pretty much. It was the apex. Like a killer whale could be more apex, but those red octopuses weren't really being hunted down by killer whales, and we still have to go through Gaebera. You get to the point where, at the end of the movie, knowing that is you, you get that that's the Zen brain. You're going to have to get to a Zen main point of life where you are 100% in love with your own self-sacrifice. Mentally and emotionally. And that the idea of 100% mental, emotional, and physical effort just to save your children, or take care of them, or just the eggs, was more beautiful, more transcendent, and more honorable than the reverse. And through that, you could actually find a space of serenity and Zen. And only through that, the idea that you would fight just to protect your children and groom a future generation of highly honorable, intelligent individuals was so transcendent to the severe pain, cruelty, and torture of just being the red octopus to begin with. It is inane to be hunting down those creatures. To be one of those sharks that I'm just going to take off their arm. And then you have to be like Hermione Granger and figure out clever ways just to survive. I'm going to coat my back and my cover with 5,000 seashells just so when a shark bites me, it doesn't sink in. Like, at the end of the day, you know, you're just struggling to survive yourself. How are your kids going to? It's a really depressing totem. That's the highest level of hope on the planet. And it's a depressing totem. And you wonder, like, I'm in Gabriel. What's his Sed gonna be like? Maybe there's more hope for the blue. Like, what if there was a blue octopus totem? And maybe we didn't die of exhaustion taking care of the children. Maybe we had an abundance of energy. Maybe we had brains and intelligence that we could actually surpass the bottleneck torture, the severity crux point of Gabriel, and actually rise above that situation into Ravenclaw. So let's just talk a little bit more about the Red Octopus Totem before we go into the Blue Octopus Totem, because it's really depressing. The whole time, you're just drowning. You're fighting people. You're fighting just for your life to even just exist in an honest capacity. You're fighting for the life of light to exist. You're fighting for intelligence to exist, for truth and justice to exist, and you're drowning. You're always on the move, you're always hiding, you're always thinking of problem solving and everything problem solving. Miracle, 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 miracle. Every chance you can get. Your life is living on the run. And then at the end of the day, sorry, quick time. And then at the end of the day, you become Lily Potter, dying just to breed in a new future generation that would do the same thing. Let me say this again, because if you don't breed, the reptiles will. It's better to be a poor Gryffindor with a big family. It's better than to be on the other side. And that was the Kali Ma totem. The Red Octopus Totem. I will die in love, just protecting my future generation. There was a moment after I kind of crossed the line into Ravenclaw that I got this grid again. Brooke was still beating me to death in the astral planes daily. Beating me to death. After a year and a half of me begging her to stop. You get to a 0 point. I am definitely nothing in the Red Octopus Totem, because you're like, can I even survive? And then like, Gabriel magic, miracle magic, Gabriel magic, miracle magic, protect my future children, Gabriel magic, miracle magic, like Gabriel, miracle, Gabriel, miracle. live, right? So you, like, in that space, you're just nothing. All day long. All day long. For years. It's the working mother's totem, but it's the Gryffindor working mother's totem because it's about every single astral emanation imprint that you give off with like zero a shadow. Period. All right. Gryffindor, 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 please. Or Seraphim, Seraphim, same thing. Save my children. Give them the strength to survive. All right, minute by minute, hour by hour, and day by day. Exhaustion. All right, so you're nothing, and you know you're nothing. Let me say that again. The idea that you would survive is just mind-blowing. There comes a point where you're not even trying to survive, you're just trying to get your children up the tree of life so that they have a potentiality to survive. That's how much you know you're nothing. And then you're still being beaten to death. By, like, spirit gurus? That want to alpha you, but have no actual depth or intelligence or anything. Yeah, so you head over to Hisset a little bit, and you go, the key to Hisset is double nothing. So you're like, I know I'm nothing here, so I know here, because I'm smarter, that I'm definitely going to be probably double nothing. But you have maybe a little bit more energy and a higher pivot point off the tree of life. So maybe you're not going to die of exhaustion, but you're still being beaten to death. And this is where you start getting smarter. And now you go, it's not about me shining. It's about me making my niece shine. So I don't even exist. Now I have double miracle energy. So it's like miracle, 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 like, so that was the fast one, right? Miracle, miracle, miracle. Now it's blue. So it's like a lot of miracles. I don't even exist. White magic. Now there might be actual hope. Because I know McKenna's future is at least the Red Octopus Totem. And I will make her shine through that. And maybe I can make her shine through the Blue Octopus Totem too. So that's where we begin. Nice intro, huh? The Blue Octopus Totem. So it was 2 weeks ago where we know that all the Ascended Masters on a physical wavelength are going to be hunted down and assassinated. It is illegal to be a light worker on this planet now. It is illegal to pray. And it is illegal to pray and it be effective. It's also illegal to educate. Point blank, you will be met by the government with body bags and guns. Point blank. That is the status quo, officially. And we will talk about that in the next few videos, including nobody crosses the wall and the white square. So knowing that after going through the severity crux points of the Red Octopus Totem and reaching the heightened mastery states of the Blue Octopus Totem, and you're absolutely sentenced to death, your paradigm changes. Your mind changes. And you develop this thing called compassion. And you don't develop compassion for the reptiles that are going to kill you, or your friends or your family, just because they're successful. You develop compassion for your family that treated you wrong and just didn't know any better. That you hated. I hate my mother. I hate my sisters. They can't even see me. They don't know anything. Right? It's that. It's those people. You develop compassion. Maybe it's a cop. They just don't get it. Maybe it's somebody with a different skin color. A black person going, Black Lives Matter, you do not get what I'm going through. And you just don't understand how to connect or hear them. You begin to develop compassion from this Blue Octopus Totem standpoint, because you know the result outcome is still just death by firing squad. At the end of the day, all those people could work their asses off in the most honest, most beautiful, divine capacity, and they will be sentenced to death and tortured. Unfair times a billion. They will be hunted and gang raped by reptiles. And all you can do is have compassion. You don't look at people the same, going, oh, they didn't do their work. You look at people differently, knowing, I know the gauntlet, and even if they mastered it, they would still be slaughtered. And then there's this horror. How could you even be mean ever to those people? Especially if they had good intent. Actual compassion. There was a moment where I was walking, checking out all my open fire stickers, going, nobody on earth is going to use my relationship with my mother against me. Compassion. And at that point, you don't even think about all the crappy things she did. Like, I get where my mother's at, but I'm not gonna let my mother be kidnapped and tortured energetically if I have the power to save her. I won't even hesitate. And that's that Mother Mary energy. I don't even second guess it. Compassion. I will blast that light out. Nobody's gonna use my mom as a leverage point, as an enemy vice trap. No way. No way. Abundance of energy. Send it to them. Blue butterfly on Kylo. Get that saved. You're gonna be fighting demons. Let me say that again. You're gonna be fighting governments that will hold you at gunpoint for praying. Let me say that again. Let me say that. You're gonna be fighting official governments that will be holding you at gunpoint. For praying. That's your future. There is no freedom of religion. There is no freedom for the pursuit of happiness. There is no freedom to do anything other than to be dominated by the secret society reptile cults. Period. That's it. That's all you have. At the end of the day, is the ability to pray and speak truth and self-educate. Compassion. Boy, is that powerful now. What a concept. Where's the line? Like, where is the line? Like, who am I going to expend my energy towards? Mother Mary can only save like 5 people. So, what are those 5 grudges that I'm going to reconcile? Who do I have enough energy to save in my paradigm or matrix? That's real compassion. Do I have compassion for Elijah's little kid that I call Tarzan? Yeah. So that's being sent. Like the idea of Maleficent having to go, Beastie, is pretty low. That's definitely the low point of Netsock. That's me, like Ray Dark. Period. Can I let you in my yin space? The real head of house for Ravenclaw, since day one, has always been Mother Mary. It's a Mother Mary energy. You'll always see it. The Madonna thing, the Daenerys is the Mother Mary thing. It's that blue and white or blue and gray or blue and silvery gray energy. You're always gonna see it, and it's compassion, and that's Dragonfire. Saving your besties, it's just saving a Gryffindor with that energy, that abundance energy, Mother Mary full of grace. It's not like Hail Mary. Maybe it is. Maybe it's a Hail Mary full of grace. But that's the only way you're going to get through. I promise. It's more fun in life to have that in your everything. Let me say this again. It's more fun in life to have that Mother Mary abundance compassion than to feel like you're stuck struggling in the Red Octopus Totem. Because maybe the blue one will save you. And maybe the blue one will save some children. Oh no, am I going to get my tongue cut out because I speak honestly? Because I educate? That's what's been going on. I wrote something here called smog papers, and I go, why? Smog papers. Smog. Papers. We'll see. We got the Six of Sword, move on. See, sometimes I get these downloads on this page, and then it goes in one ear, out the other. My memory needs to be more developed. All right. There's a story. This is really important when we talk about the Blue Octopus Totem. You go your whole life struggling to survive, and you're in a space of like competition. So let's just say I want to be an actor. So I'm going to go to acting class and I'm competing against all of the actors in that acting class. Or I'm a dancer and I'm going to compete against all the dancers just so I can raise up through the pyramid scheme and become elevated. All right, so that's that get up to Gabriel Red Octopus Totem kind of thing. Just compete to survive. Raise to the heights of society. Okay, my whole life was, I'm going to compete, I'm going to compete, I'm going to compete at yoga, compete at piano, compete at math, compete at art, compete at this, compete at that, compete at circ. Just, it didn't matter if I was in the beginning class or the middle class or the advanced class. It was just always competition. Compete. I'm going to compete in the metaphysics. Compete. I can do it. My favorite was yoga. The idea that I would have to be the best yoga student. I have to alpha this whole studio. That was my life. Understand that. I would look to the teacher and go, you need to give me attention because I'm going to compete to be the best. All right? That's where we're standing. Do you understand Hermione Granger? Like, I'm going to compete. I'm the best at everything. And I was like that way since I was 5. Let me say that again. I'm in the GATE programs at 3rd grade. I'm at the top of my class. I will answer every single thing, 100% verbatim. Hermione Granger, first my hand is first up in the class. I know everything. When I was in 6th grade, 5th grade, 4th grade, 3rd grade, same, all the same. I'm going to compete. I'm going to compete on the playground. Who's the most popular? Me. Same thing. Foursquare, compete. You know when you do the kickball foursquare? Compete. I'm going to go play with the boys just so I can get better and compete against all the girls. And I'll compete against the boys too. So it wasn't just Hermione Granger. It was like everything. Let's say that again. It was everything. There comes a point where that competition goes, maybe I should become a teacher. I'm going to go be a yoga teacher because I need a job. And your brain changes. Because now you're like compassionate. You're not the asshole competing for everybody. In front of everybody. You're actually like the compassionate one that goes, I know you're like a beginner and like I need to actually make sure you're not going to get hurt. So let's do it this way. And you start to look at people on an equalizing platform. You don't look at the beginner as less important than the advanced person in the back. Let me say that again. As an instructor, you do not look at the beginner who sucks and is like toppling over. You do not look at them as less important in your yoga class as the advanced little cunt in the back that is you. And you know that that's you. Oops, sorry, did I swear again? And here's why. Not only is it just a giant liability, because the idea that the basic person would get hurt in your class is like a reflection on you. But at the end of the day, you know that little cunt competing in the back, that's you, doesn't really need your help, but kind of emotionally needs your help. They need you to acknowledge that they're advanced. They did this much work. They did this much work, right? They need that acknowledgement, but they don't need your hand-holding. They have an emotional need, more than a physical one. And maybe they need a physical one, but at that level, they shouldn't be mixed in with the beginners taking a free class. So it's contextualized. The point is this. When Kelly came to me, she didn't come with 20 years of a metaphysical background. Going, I'm the most advanced person in my class. I know how to do everything. What she did was just listen to it and do what I asked. She did like the basic assignments and then rose through the ranks. Because Kelly is naturally susceptible to coachability. Because she's obedient in a divine way. She's responsible. She's reasonable. She's personable. She's there when you ask her to do something. And she has initiative. She has these virtues that would be key for like the head of Ravenclaw. So I just look at her and I go, Archangel Zadkiel, because nobody else had that. Not one other person showed up to my class with that. At all. Oh, she's a beginner? Maybe because she's in a beginner's mind. But she has this thing called like life experience. Oh, and she'll go into the bottom of the Clippeth with me and clean. Because she has this thing called humility. So we'll just clean and clean clean. And clean up more. Kelly was sentenced to death. Just so everybody knows. By the US government and the UK government. There is not one person in these governments that is on Kelly's side in any capacity. Only a bullet to the brain. The Blue Octopus Totem. So when you know what it takes to even do this work and to start becoming to ninja at it, and you know the end result is execution because of that, you don't want to be mean to any of them ever again. The idea that I would be mean to one of my students is bizarre. I look at some of the things that I've said and go, maybe that was a bit harsher than I would have liked. Maybe they needed it just to get through Gaybra. But you have a sense of perspective and dignity around it. Because you know just the end result is a bullet. And maybe it's worse. So you develop like discernment. You have discernment at that space. I didn't have discernment that the end result of me ascending the tree of life would be to hit Ravenclaw and be actively sentenced to execution. A verbatim hostage. I didn't know. I knew the government was corrupt. I knew there were reptiles all over this planet. But I didn't know verbatim I was going to be 100% sentenced to execution. After I starved a whale, drank from a poison cup, and took fake cyanide. So it's a little cumbersome to stomach, but we are doing it. I want to talk a little bit about the Blue Octopus Totem. I'm going to pause this video and restart it again. We're back on screen. Do I look better or worse? Doesn't matter, does it? Me shot anyway. All right. So remember when we got Fenny Wilson? Remember when we got Funny Wilson? This was our, like, hope for Gryffindor. It was the A&R mushroom. The A&R mushroom. Oh, that's a whole other video. Yes, that's the 7-layered Odessa video. Okay. I need to remember that. And then it's the Gryffindor, the Rainbow Bridge. But it would be like when I'm talking to a wall and I'm just listening and listening to all the demonic energy coming from Brooke and Star and Elijah and a bunch of other people, right? In the pit of hell. Like Funny Wilson, just that they're... Let me show you exactly how funny Wilson is. Oh no. Where is my stick? Where's my pointing stick? Oh, here we go. Oh, that's what we do in Gryffindor. We buy a piece of velvet and then we do this. Smoke and mirrors. Okay. So you see like you watch Funny Wilson like playing with what they say and like drawing words in the sand in response. And it's something that's like psychological in your brain about how to create like a funny response scenario to just absolute devilish trauma. And so that's where the name Funny Wilson came from. So it's like, I'm going to play with this, I'm going to play with this, and it's just, you can't get enough of the smile face on him because he just looks smug about how stupid everybody is. Because they're never going to get away with it. And he's like, So that's where Gryffindor began, at least for me. He's just like, I'm gonna do like that and that. So Funny Wilson was like my best friend while I was in the pit of hell. All right, so that's Funny Wilson. And then we went and we got the Hierophant. Now, like, to me, this is like me and Kelly, the difference. So, like, Kelly's smaller, and different shaped. So we named this one the Hierophant. And then it's like Red Octopus Totem, Blue Octopus Totem. So there's a difference. And I tried to get like a better, like this is Ravenclaw. Like I tried to get a better color, but this was what came. And it's just like, yes, absolutely. Ravenclaw will be built off the back of Gryffindor, off the hard slave physical labor of the Gryffindors, or the Seraphim. So the Hoshmalim are up here, but they're built off the back of the Seraphim. And when you know that, you have, like, Ravenclaw and Gryffindor, the Seraphim and the Hoshmalim are one. They're not separate. There's not, like, house pride. We're both above the wheel, and we're in the same scenario. We're either the ones that are fighting, or the ones, like, that we're fighting with our brains. Just for justice. We're above the wheel of karma. There's a sense of unity with Gryffindor and Ravenclaw. That's why you would, like, watch Harry Potter and you would go, you know Hufflepuff's the lower end house. And you know Slytherin's, like, the mean house. So it's actually kind of hard to do their house. Their house is elevated. All right, so we got these. And I go, I'm not going to buy anything else because I'm a poor homeless person and I'm about to be deported and whatever else. I'm living out of my suitcase. But we moved. Should I say where I moved to? No. Is that going to incite more violence? You think that, like, some of the good people might know where I live right now? Because we know a lot of the bad people already know where I live. Yay. So I saw these. And this is the Ravenclaw lasagna color. And I knew it was to be purchased. And it sat there. It sat up on my altar shelf for months, and I would just stare at it. What is the lesson? What is it? Why? They're not unique. They're now conforming to each other. They've now mastered obedience or resonance, right? So when I ask you to do this, look just like me, I know how to match it. So I know what matching pairs look like. So this is a really big key component for Ravenclaw, especially when we want to talk about abundance. Let's say that again. Because if the reptiles in Hode know about abundance and corporate takeovers, then we know how to make everything look exactly the same and replicate and replicate and replicate and replicate. So should a Ravenclaw. And at a higher level of intelligence, we should all know how to speak the same language, definitely. Like crows and ravens, they all look the same. They don't need to be special or unique or individualistic. Like, they don't need this level of separation. Let me say that again. You know how like alien races, a lot of them, you see them and they're all the same. Is that a psychic magic? Is that a level of self-defense and protection? We lose our sense of identity because we no longer look unique. There's no more self-importance. We are definitely nothing. So that's kind of cool. But let me teach you about the tree. Because just because they look alike doesn't mean that they're the same. Like the personality of this guy is not necessarily the personality of this one. And the brain of this guy is not necessarily the brain of this guy. It's a paradoxical behavior pattern. As you go up the tree, you think that there's less freedom, that there's more enslavement, that there's like more self-righteousness, when it's like actually the reverse. Less. There's more humility and like more diversity and like more creativity. The idea that I would have to mimic a Hierophant classical musical piece and master it, that sounds rather boring and austere. But as you become a developed master, you don't think like that anymore. You actually go, how do I definitely master it? And then maybe I learn 500 things and then can develop my own orchestra. Maybe I can become a composer because I learned how to be obedient at this level. And that's what that Hierophant education is actually all about. It's Leviosa, not Leviosa. My brain is so humble that I can hear the Hierophant teaching and the higher level authentic intelligence, and I can go A+ mimic instead of ew, that's just boring. I can look at a Vogue magazine and appreciate actually all the masterful components of it. And I can seek to elevate. So, like, that's just basic good Hode. That is, my brain is practical, reasonable, it's workable. Like, I can do the work. That's just the 8 of Pentacles card. I can create a pentacle on a coin and create mimicked exact replicas in abundance, one after the other. So I should definitely be able to do that in Hesed over and over and over and over again. So what I really wanted to get to was there's a paradoxical trap that as you go up the tree, you tend to lose sight of the vast abundance component of creativity. There was a moment where Kelly and I were talking, and I know we're in such high freak brain capacity that we're like talking at each other, but we're still talking with each other, but we love each other, but like we're like connecting, but we're not connecting, but we're like, and like I'm hearing her astral self, and like her physical self sounds different than her astral self, but they're still aligned because it's a different time-space continuum platform. And her astral self is very hyper intelligent. So it's Kelly came to me and goes, here's the rainbow lighter. It's rainbow tie, and I go, she says rainbow tie-dye lighter. And I go, rainbow lighter. We're all let's manifest a rainbow lighter. And she says rainbow tie-dye. But my brain was not hung up on rainbow tie-dye. So I wasn't really hearing her. I was hearing myself dissect whatever she just brought to the table, and then I slaughtered it. So then I manifest a rainbow lighter, and it doesn't look like her rainbow tie-dye lighter. And I wondered, what if I had agreed, if I had listened to her say rainbow tie-dye lighter, connect to that level, rainbow tie-dye level lighter, and then manifest the exact same one? What if that had been what I had done? And that is actually real obedience. Is that I am so humble to be absolutely nothing. I will seek to understand exactly what she is pointing out to me, because she does it a lot. She talks about the cannibalism, and I don't understand it, but I listen, and I know that it's real. It's not just knife rape and FGM and pedo. It's also the cannibalism that we're fighting. And my brain, my brain can't handle anymore. But hers can. We're actually fighting true cannibals on this planet. And that just makes me vomit more. But she comes with the tie-dye lighter. I'm hearing somebody say I'm going to go shoot the Windsors right now, because I know that the Windsors are actually the cannibals. What? No, I didn't see Queen Elizabeth try to cut off my head in the astral planes and eat my brains out. I didn't see that. I see you, Kelly. Believe me, I see you, Kelly. I hear you. I might not get everything. But I have enough compassion to listen. At least I have that. Enough humility to know when she talks about cannibalism, she means it. Physically. Compassion. So let's go back to this because it's fascinating. I really like when you understand that the reverse side is this. It's really fun to go around London playing with them, setting up like light language signs. I'm really happy or I'm really sad. Just, yeah, I know. So like, sometimes when we all look alike, we can actually increase in diversity. Let me say that again. When we're all wearing the same school uniform, it actually increases the level of diversity between everybody instead of lessen. I need to remind everybody like school uniforms is actually like a benefit. That increases the level of personal identity instead of diminishes it. Let me say this again. Steve Jobs wore the same shirt every single day. And it increased the level of mental and emotional and personality diversity. Then it decreased it. Because now you look at your similar and you go, I am not you. Like somebody's saying, this might be how Asians feel, because a lot of Asians look a lot alike and they all kind of look like twins. Is that a racist we're sorry. Us white people that have like 5 different layers of skin color tone and hair color tone and like, oh, your hair is straight. Oh, your hair is frizzy. Oh, your hair is falling out. Like, oh, you have straight red hair. Oh, you have frizzy curly red hair. Oh, you have blonde Hermione hair. Ugh, yeah, like that. We're sorry to the Asian community. But you guys might actually have more diversity in personality and individuality than we do. Because that's an internal thing instead of an external thing. Let me say that again. It's an internal thing. Chris Pratt and Tom Hardy look a lot alike. They even kind of vibe alike. Brick and Root. They're best friends in the astral planes. They're kind of like this. They're a lot more like this than like me and Kelly are. So this is more like me and Kelly, and this is a lot more like Brick and Root. Let me say that again. This is a lot more like Tom Hardy and Chris Pratt, but they are not the same. Their energy does not run the same. Their brains do not work the same. They do not care about the same things, and they have a very different value system. Period. So, but they're both hell dragons that kind of like, one's red and one's brownish red. Let me say that again. One's red and one's brownish red. When I look at the alien grays, I can feel the personality difference between everybody. They're not the same. They all look the same, but they do not feel the same. This is important when we talk about like food. That Ravenclaw is not McDonald's. It's not a monoculture crop kind of reality. It's more like a 5,000 different types of corn reality. That's just Netsock, so it's definitely Ravenclaw. We can all look the same. All right, so we go through personality of the Greys, different. Personality of aliens, different aliens, same thing. Different dragons, same thing. Dino Star and Lucifer are much more alike than almost all the other dragons. A Light Fury and a Night Fury, they sound the same, but they're still different. But they're best friend mates. They're lovers. So they're kind of the most alike that you can be. We did the corn versus Monsanto, and then we're going to do blue marks versus nothing. So again, the corn, like instead of monoculture corn, 500 different types of corn, absolutely mandatory. Then we go blue marks versus nothing. When you first start doing mantras, Sapatin, yeah, like Om Gam Ganapate Namaha, Om Gam Ganapate Namaha, Om Gam Ganapate Namaha, Om Gam Ganapate, yeah, so like that. It's the same thing as beating a drum. I'm raping it right now. Kirtan's cool. Om Gam Ganapate Namaha, Om Gam Ganapate Namaha. So what that does in your brain is make you go psycho. Because you go, my creativity is now limited to redundancy. So there's no freedom. It's just slavery. But it's there to like break through ego barriers. Same thing with redundancy workout patterns. Like Ashtanga yoga. Oh, it's the same yoga every day. Yeah. Blue marks work. It's the same page I'm writing down every day. And it triggers your ego to shatter it. Because there's no freedom on the reverse end. Let me say that again. If I don't do my blue marks work, I'm a slave, definitely. And if I do my blue marks work, I'm not. So it's a trade-off. And when you develop the certain level of self-control and discipline and Gebra analysis training, you override the egoic desire to fight it. And you just go, yes. Yes, please. Again, it's this. I will master the perfect replication form. I will master the perfect replication form. I will master the perfect replication form over and over and over until I can compose. It's that. And maybe at that level, I will not be dying of exhaustion taking care of my children, and maybe I will not be sentenced to death. Maybe I can compose instead of have a bullet in my brain. Maybe I will have mastered it enough to figure out how to compose an orchestra. Maybe I will direct the FBI. Maybe I will bring the DEA in. Maybe I will have mastered something enough to figure it out and not be sentenced to death. Maybe I will learn how to direct my energy and my words and my wand and point it in the right direction because I am benevolent, not only to myself, but to the children, but to the goals of the FBI, to the higher cause of life and reality, maybe I will learn through obedience, and maybe I will master it, instead of succumb to the Red Octopus Totem fate, where I just die drowning instead. I will compose Odessa's music. I will learn. I will listen. Her music is the most divine out of anything. The highest vibrating pieces on the planet. I will compose them, and I have no education. And I will start from scratch. I have piano lessons when I was like 8. And I can teach myself Moonlight Sonata. Ooh. It's the same thing. I will rise. And maybe I will rise above rising. And maybe that is the dawn. Cirque. I will compete at Cirque. I had a really big problem at Cirque because I wasn't strong enough, and would watch everybody like they were Misty Copeland on crack, just flying through the air. The amount of talent when you go to Cirque school is bizarre. It's mind-blowing because the amount of work involved just to get from point A to point B is 30,000 hours and no money. It's pure love and started at the age of 5. And you seek to just do anything. Could I even do that trick? Maybe if I did 500 push-ups a day. But my brain doesn't want to do all that replication work that is boring and limiting and prison. That's prison. It's prison. But if I don't, I will never get to do anything fun ever. I will never look like Misty Copeland because I don't do the 500 pliés a day on top of everything else. And maybe I will if I have 20 years and ninja school. I'm not going to learn to be a dancer. I will rise. That is my response. That is my official response to the US government, to the UK government, and to the Windsors, and to the Kennedy family, who are seeking verbatim to have me executed violently. Collie Run out.